I was never a fan of Katseye, nor did I ever have an interest in them since I'm not the biggest fan of reality TV. But after Gnarly came out, I started paying a little bit more attention to them, not because I thought the music was good, but because I just knew they weren't gonna make it that far.
No shade. That's no shade. Run it back.
Throughout the last couple of years, K-pop has been labeled the fast fashion of music, and there is no other company that represents this perfectly than HYBE. And you can see this in the way Cat's music changed basically overnight. When Touch and Debut came out was when Pink Panthers was at like peak popularity. So those two songs had a more dreamy pop with a little bit of R&B undertone. But roughly about 3 weeks before Cat's Eye debuted, Brat came out, and it was immediately a hit. You could not go anywhere without seeing people talk about Brat Summer. It was charting high in multiple countries, won Charlie a Grammy and multiple awards back in her home country. It was so popular that it even had the honor to be blocked from #1 by Taylor Swift. And what does HYBE do upon seeing this? They hard pivot these girls to a more mature, hyper pop, and electric sound. Their first strike, in my opinion, was Gnarly. And I know there's gonna be some people who are either gonna say it's experimental or just start dragging my faves, but that doesn't change the fact that the song is ass and the lyrics make no sense. It's literally music I would have listened to back when I was like 13.
And just to drag myself for a second, there was this hyperpop group that I was obsessed with. Y'all probably don't even know them though, they're super niche. I give 13-year-old me a lot of grace because I was just figuring out what I liked. And while it hasn't changed drastically, like I still like hyperpop, I still like EDM, I still like emo rap, emo rock, all that stuff. I just now know what sounds good.
And I fear Gnarly is not it. After Gnarly, I'm pretty sure they released Gabriella, which is a hit. And literally everybody agrees it's a hit, and that's where the direction should have gone. But of course, HYBE cannot go a day without playing in our faces, so they decided to release Game Boy next. And Game Boy isn't a bad song. It's definitely better than Gnarly, but that's not saying much. It shares a criticism with Gnarly, which is just the repetition. I didn't like Super Shy because of the repetition. I didn't like Baggy Jeans because of the repetition. The repetition of the chorus needs to end. You have like 13 people writing these lyrics down, and you're telling me the best they could come up with is, "You're just a Game Boy, you be trying to play, boy." I'm so glad I knew not to even try to become a trainee. And then Internet Girl came out, which was like, okay. Again, with the repetition, eat zucchini, eat zucchini, eat zucchini. Do you read me? Like the emoji? What are we talking about? And then there's this baby going, "I'm getting out of here." Mind you, this took 9 people to produce. You had 9 producers in there. Did none of them talk to each other? Their most recent release was Pinky Up, which, what does that even mean? I'm genuinely asking here because when I think of Pinky Up, I'm thinking like, okay, we're going for tea, we're gonna be real classy, but then we're also talking about shaking ass in the parking lot. I did move a little. I did. I can definitely see me like in the club or in the parking lot shaking ass, right? Right. It's like very much I went out with my friends and this came on at the bar, so we all got up dancing. That's not the majority opinion though. A lot of people do not like this song at all. But it's not all just because they find the song annoying or bad, but because of Manon. From the few clips I saw when Dream Academy first came on Netflix, and me watching like one episode, skipping to when Manon came, then leaving because I got bored, it was obvious to me that the producers wanted Manon to be in the group. You don't fly someone out from Sweden all the way to Los Angeles just to send them back. And you know what? I'm still not watching that show. I can't do reality TV, I'm sorry. But I did watch a retrospective about it, and now I'm gonna give you my opinions. Manon fans might not like hearing this, but those girls had a valid point. It was very valid to criticize her for not coming to practice and not showing up in the dorms and being late for curfew yet not getting kicked out, but other girls that were late for curfew did get kicked out. And if you can't understand why someone would be mad at that, I need you to search inwards. And now for the Manon haters. Her not showing up to practice sometimes was valid. If you're sick, you should take a break. If you feel like you can't perform at your best at that moment, you should take a break. However, you should know when to take a break. You shouldn't take a break when you're completely fine and everyone else is doing the work that they need to do, yet you're not. Manon was being inconsiderate of the other girls. Not selfish, because there is a difference. Being inconsiderate is usually unintentional, while being selfish isn't unintentional. You know you're doing that shit. But I genuinely think she was just not thinking how her taking advantage of this would affect other people. But also, the other girls were being inconsiderate too, but of Manon, especially Sophia. They were talking shit about her behind her back, and she had to hold a group meeting about this whole situation. And this wasn't the first time Manon explained her feelings to other girls. She tried to explain it to Sophia, but Sophia, for some reason, didn't understand what she was saying. Sophia had interpreted it as Manon not understanding why those other girls were upset at her, instead of what Manon actually meant, which was, why are y'all talking shit about me behind my back? If you have criticisms, just tell me, right? Everybody was being inconsiderate in that situation. Manon of how the other girls would feel with her taking advantage, and the other girls with how Manon would feel about them literally excluding her from stuff and laughing at her when she came into the room. Especially Sophia. I don't know what her deal is, but like, girl, let's lock in. Manon eventually does try to prove herself and, comes to practice and all that stuff. But like, no shade, but I feel like you should have been done that. Like, I don't know why you chose towards basically the end of Dream Academy for you to start proving yourself. I don't know. Another thing, y'all need to leave my girl Adela alone. Seriously, she did not do anything. Y'all get on her because she was getting on Manon, but like, so was everybody else. Everybody thought the same thing that Adela did. I don't know why y'all like specifically targeted her. You know what? Actually, no, I do know, but I can't say on YouTube because
it's gonna trigger people. This whole trigger generation.
I want to end this section of the video saying that there was definitely bullying going on, and I feel like Katseye fans who don't like Manon need to just like take off the rose tinted glasses, because those girls were definitely bullying Manon. And I think some of their criticisms were valid. However, I don't think bullying her for it is valid. I feel like they should have just talked it out. Apart from all that pre-debut stuff, she would also get left out of a lot of group activities. Like for their collaboration with Monster High, all the girls were prompted to show their Monster High representative doll to the camera, and everybody else got to, but they skipped over Manon. And in addition to that, Hype sent over every single one of the members' photos except for Manon. And they only did it once they started getting a lot of pushback for their exclusion of her. She was also left out of the Gabriella performance video. Her company did make a statement saying that it was because of a sprained ankle. And I remember people saying that Laura also had an injury during like Game Boy, and she still made it to performances and toughed it through. But like, do y'all realize that you can't walk on a sprained ankle? I feel like people don't think it's that serious because it's not a broken ankle, but it's still pretty bad. I remember when I sprained my ankle and I literally could not walk on it for like 2 weeks. And when I could finally walk on it, I had to wear crutches because it hurt so much to even put a little bit of pressure on it. Sprained ankle is not something you can walk on, let alone dance on. Y'all are insane for trying to make it seem like she should have to perform through that. She was also left out of a magazine shoot, which I can't find, but hopefully I will when I start editing. And this was more so earlier in their careers, but she was often put behind other members during performances. And like they all took a turn covering her up, I swear. Every single performance of Touch and Debut, you could not see her basically the entire time.
I actually said this before actually watching their performances, so I rebuke everything I said. Whoever choreographed this just doesn't know how to make a choreo for 6 people. For most of Touch, Manon was visible and Danielle was the one getting covered. Debut was where she was getting covered a bit but was still visible for most of it.
She also has the least amount of lines in every single Katseye song except for Game Boy. And in their season's greetings, they had a questionnaire where you can pick answers to see which of the Cat's Eye girls you are closest to. And for Manon, it was what is Manon's best feature? Her humor, her selfishness, her laziness, or her quiet nature? To me personally, that's just unprofessional, even if it's just supposed to be like a joke. I find it weird that we're using stuff that she actually gets so much hate for, even if it's just supposed to be like a little gag. The Cat's Eye girls have also been seen hanging out with people who fans deem as like enemies of Manon, which is really just the other girls from Dream Academy. But the only one that I think is like valid for people to criticize them for hanging out with is Naisha, because she like publicly hated on Manon even after the show, saying that Laura, a South Asian, is more representation to Black girls than the Black woman that is standing right there. I don't want to get into the debates because people feel quite strongly about this one. You know, there are people who are like, Manon is Black. It doesn't matter if she's African or just half Black, she is Black. And then there are people who are like, you're only Black if you have two Black parents. And both sides feel very strong. And I don't want to debate about who is right because I I don't care. But I do think it's weird that they so publicly hang out with someone who has publicly hated on another member. Cat's Eye also just lack media training because I think Hybe was more focused on getting these girls to dance and sing and get accustomed to like the trainee life than they were to actually teach them how to behave in public. K-pop idols get criticized quite a bit for not being able to say their true opinions about things, but that's not a bad thing, like at all. Because I guarantee you, if you heard the real opinions of these people, you would not like them. Kind of controversial take, but I think media training is not such a bad thing, especially when it can prevent you from liking a post that was being shady to another girl group. Like Danielle liking a post from Sophia Wiley where she talks about how Katseye is doing really good and then kind of puts Blackpink down. Or from making a statement about something that didn't need a statement, like Laura getting harassed because she said Will from Stranger Things was fine when he got his like spidey senses or something. And the reason for making that statement is that now people are saying she probably did know that Noah Schnapp is like a Zionist who says Zionism is sexy and all that shit. Like she made that response a couple of hours after she started getting hate. That shows that you're online. And if you're online, you probably know about Noah Schnapp being a not so good person, which is why you just don't make a response, because then people can't use your response against you. Their PR isn't very good, but what's worse is their music. So unless they do another hard pivot, the general public will continue to not like them, and eventually they will be arriving at Nugu Station.